To slide through the screen. Welcome, everyone. We're back. It's Wednesday. That means it's time for the Wednesday Night Live team. Myself, Mr. Tim Rocker. I have other things to say about it, but I won't say it. And Michelle. Michelle is back with us. We don't know where the rest of the crew is. They're missing. We're going to place them on. Do they still do the pictures on the milk cartons, Tim?
I think so. Well, actually, what we could probably do is just what everybody else does and start a Facebook group.
Yes.
Help us find the rest of the crew. Join the Facebook group, like and share.
Like and share. We'll just have these anonymous placings of our restaurant. I've seen them at a quickie mark in Alabama somewhere.
Maybe there's some funny milk carton memes out there we can share in the group or something.
I love it. I love it. Have you seen
pick it up at the post office,
right next to the most wanted posters.
Where are these people?
Yeah, have you seen this individual? He has not been seen since.
Yeah.
Oh man. No,
and then they'll come run into the group and be like, "I'm right here. I never went anywhere." And we'll be like, "That's a hack account. That's a fake account. We don't know where they are. Help us find them. Help us find them."
It's AI of Phil.
Like that joke they play on little kids, where they sit them down in the chair and they do like the little magic trick where they make them disappear, and then the whole family acts like they can't see them.
Yeah.
Right.
The poor child is tortured because they're like,
"I'm right here. I'm right here." Yeah, we might have to start a GoFundMe just for the reward, the reward money.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
But we're back. Yes, we've got a few topics that we're going to talk about. We've got Alabama's new vape law adds hefty fines rehab for teens, which I'm shaking my head on that one, and parents. Parents need rehab too for their children that are vaping. And yeah, we need that. We need any way to make a buck, and they will be state funded, I'm sure. No, I'm kidding. Up in smoke, Lakewood City Council passes smoke and vape shop. We're going to go into that. And I think that unless you got something else we'll talk about, we'll see what comes up in conversation. We usually have something that comes up. But before we get started, we're going to go down to the Michelle down there in the lovely state of Florida, and she's going to tell us how her week is going.
It's been going pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
No real complaints.
No. Any Phil spottings in Florida?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just checking. Yeah.
No, but we released a whole bunch of turtles. We had some that were beached and sick, and from all the storms we've had, and we released a whole bunch of them. So that was good to know. And one of them was like 80 pounds or 90 pounds.
Oh,
or
wow.
something. It was a big one. And
these are turtles that got washed up the shore, or?
Yeah, they come up on the shore. Where I'm at, they like the beach, and it's full of people. So we have guys that run around on the golf carts, and they check them every morning and every evening. And when they see one that has laid eggs, they cord it off, and make sure that nobody can get to it. And we try and hatch them and pull them, and then they go to a special area, and we raise them until they're old enough to get out there safely.
Nice.
So, we try. Yeah. And then the ones that get beached, of course, they always have barnacles and things on them. So we rehabilitate them and get all those off and send them on their way.
Those damn barnacles.
They're on everything.
I get those too every time I go to a nightclub.
That's something different.
I think you just gathered those over the years to where you're 57 now, and that's just something that comes with the territory. I need to personally go check after the show to make sure I don't have a few that I haven't noticed.
You haven't gotten off?
I don't know. Sometimes those things just kind of appear, and you're like, what the hell is that? Oh my God, I got barnacles.
What is this under my armpit? How did he get there? It looks old.
Yeah, well,
Somebody get me the scraper. I've got barnacles.
Yeah, forget about molds. Look for the barnacles, damn it.
Yeah, you don't do the scraper anymore. You do the automatic grinder.
Oh, no grinding on us. No.
Back when we were younger, we were just worried about our fingers getting pruned for spending too much time in the bathtub. Now we get barnacles.
Yeah. And this goes out to Robert, Jeff, and Steve, and Microwave. Do you have any barnacles on your body that you need to get rid of? Contact Michelle. She knows people.
We're going to start a barnacle advocacy group.
She knows people that remove them. So give Michelle a heads up.
We're actually going to go against the grain and start an anti-barnacle advocacy group.
Hell yeah!
We're going to double down. We're going to do vaping and anti-barnacle advocacy.
Yeah, they come in redheads, blondes, brunettes. They can just mix and match.
What did I do? What did I do?
None that you can see so far.
Goodness.
I've had a good week, though. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Microwave. That's what guys do. They just go, you know what, I'll take care of it later. And next thing you know, just this huge barnacle on you.
I mean, it's Microwave. It's usually a condition that you get. It kind of drives you into a dark corner of shame and feeling inferior when you go out in public. Because I mean, you can cover them up the best that you can, but sometimes people notice the dimples in your pants and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, "What is that?"
When you start noticing your credit score going down and your bank account dwindling,
are barnacles covered under insurance? Is that actually covered under insurance?
Yeah, I have a $5 copay per barnacle.
Okay, good for you. I thought that was elective surgery.
Oh my! Yeah.
Oh.
Hey Doc.
I didn't mean any of this to happen.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Start talking about things that can attach themselves to you, and look what it turns into.
Oh my God. James Harden knows all about barnacles, being a pirate and all.
Isn't it though, James? Like that you go to sit down like those, the bench at Texas Roadhouse or something, and you just hear the crunch, and you're like, oh my God. I hope nobody heard that. I really hope.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Timmy, how is your week going, buddy?
Well, actually, it's strangely enough, it's been barnacle free, John. But but life carries on, and you hope for the best.
Actually, you took care of them. You took care of them early.
Yep. Woke up early Monday morning.
Well, now you got a wife to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, honey, can you get this barnacle for me?
Oh,
and it's in a weird spot. I can't reach it from.
It's out of arm reach.
Exactly.
See Tim's trying to get it with his
hand. What are you doing with that pencil behind your back? I'm trying to get the barnacle off.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Actually, it's been a pretty well. This weekend was very melodramatic. Not a whole lot going on. We did go out with our friends on Sunday. Out to a little town here not far down yonder called Elliott, which is a town here in Georgia, which is very popular for their apples and their orchards.
Oh yeah,
and wine to some degree as well. So it's not quite apple season, but we went down and went to this place that was like this big kind of country store, and they had everything apple. And so we did some cider tasting, and then we headed over to a winery after that. So it was a nice day up in the mountains.
Nice.
And then this week is, as you know, John, well, it actually started last week a little bit, but the beginning of the FIFA Club World Cup. We did get your gifts.
Did she wear the shirt yet?
Not yet. She can't because she's not, this only just because. Are there any Italian teams playing in the FIFA?
Two. There's two teams. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to keep our eye on the Italians. Yeah. So I don't know how the groups work entirely. I just know that there's some advancement at some point. So we have started that adventure down the and and I don't watch soccer much or hardly at all. So I'm there for pure moral support. But I as I told you, John, I was told the day that the things arrived, I was told they were immediately going to Goodwill, and and then she wanted to point out succinctly that Brazil has won 5 World Cups. Italy only has 4. But she was impressed, and she's like, that's a really good quality flag.
Yes,
now,
it is.
What remains to be seen is, will it be flown or hung up at this house? And B, will I have to go to urgent care because I got to take the punch for John if something bad happens? So I am making sure that I keep a necessary distance on the couch if it gets a little. Sleeping with one eye open.
Eye open. Pillow.
Making sure I don't wake up with barnacles in my eyes. But,
yes. A couple extra barnacles.
I know, Don. I'm with you on that. October can't come fast enough, right? Congratulations to the Panthers on the back-to-back Stanley Cup wins. But yeah, October, hurry up. Let's get back here already so we can start the 2025-2026 season.
Yeah, I'm ready for football, damn it. I'm ready for football. I can't wait for football. My week, pretty boring. Work, clean house, get rid of boxes, dumpster. That's about it. That's all I've done. That's all I'm doing. And I have my lovely granddaughters here, so that's good. Oh, wait a minute. We found him. The reward is up. There's no reward. Phil showed up, so you guys cannot collect on the reward. We thought you were missing. Is it called a bolo? We sent a bolo out there. Is that what?
Be on the lookout.
Yeah. Be out. Yeah. And here he is. So
I am here. Wait, so what did you not collect?
No bolo.
Barnacles.
Yeah, barnacles. Yeah.
You missed the whole barnacle
by the seashore. Good to see you, good people. Thank you for being here.
Michelle brought up barnacles, and I used the barnacle term, in a different way.
Long story, Philip.
Like when you go to the club.
So that wasn't Swifty over here being random? No,
not at all.
I love your random moments. So those are.
It was a tail end of a very long joke.
Yeah.
You have some beautiful poolside pictures on Twitter. I was noticing that, and poor Lindsey has a weed problem.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty today. It really was.
It looked beautiful. I'm glad my internet is working because we just had a holy shit, pardon my Anglo-Saxon thunderstorm, and it almost went out again.
Yeah.
Spectrum, if you're out there, you know what I'm talking about.
Look, I haven't been to Alabama but never like a long period of time. I was always, hauling something in or out of there when I was driving truck. But
Barnacles.
Is it kind of like the weather there, kind of like the weather in Washington where it could rain at any given moment?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not Pacific Northwest.
No.
Let's just say I wish we had, Portland summers, but let's just say every day between June and early September, June and July, pretty much every afternoon, there's a fair chance that you're going to see, some action.
Yeah, okay.
That's just all in the South, no matter where you're at.
Right. Yeah, it's been more active this year than most, and my heart goes out to my friends in West Virginia. That's a FEMA situation, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's more like the weather in Buffalo during the summer, where it builds up so much humidity and it just starts raining out of the blue. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I have a relative humidity meter in this condo that says something along the lines of "get out." It's. I want to say the best you're going to do, even with like a new HVAC system and new ductwork, you're probably still going to be somewhere around 55% humidity.
Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
you're sweating coming out of the shower.
Like 72, 78 all the time here. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I sweat anyway because I'm a man, and I apologize. I apologize for nothing. Guys.
We have to sweat to keep the barnacles off. That helps keep the barnacles off.
No,
This has
see,
now
you're
become
wrong
a
because
thing, hasn't it?
they love this.
Well-
They love the salty water, you know.
Yeah. Well, see, Michelle was talking about taking the barnacles off of turtles. I was describing the barnacles that you run into as a man in nightclubs, but somehow it associated the two together. So,
You're talking about the clinger.
the clinger, yeah, that's a barnacle. That's the man's version of a barnacle.
No, per the Wedding Crashers,
Yeah.
handbook, you have a stage 1 to
Yep.
stage 3.
Yep.
Stage 3, well, we need to find someone with a gun.
Yeah, I use the military terms, and I go DEFCON. It's either DEFCON 1 through 5.
Whenever I hear DEFCON, I will never not think of war games.
Welcome back, Philip. How's your week been?
My week has been extraordinarily. It's been epically awful, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's actually on. In the last several months, that is not unusual. So here's what we are. We are adequate. We are equal to the task in every possible way because you can't.
We got a lot going on in Alabama. We're going to talk about one story in Alabama. Tim, you want to do the hellos to the chatters out there?
Sure. Let's say hello to the good people. Actually, what I tip my hand. Normally, I try to do something to throw them off, think I'm going down a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back on but you know what happens when you have to remove a barnacle from a turtle, don't you? You'd never guess, but barnacles scream. And you know what they scream?
They do.
They scream. When you break the barnacle, they scream and they go, "Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Show, the Barnacle Edition." I hope everyone has had a wonderful week thus far. Let's see who's here. Let's see the rowdy crowd in the chat. Who do we got? We got Robert, not on a billboard, lawyer in the house. Good to see you, Robert. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. We got Jeff, Danny boy in the house. Good to see you, Jeff, Danny boy. Right on time, he said. Right on time. He was here on the mark. I like your promptness. I like how you were here before the bell rang. That's a star on the board for you today, sir. We got Microwave, left you on 1 second oven in the house. Good to see you, Microwave. What happens if you microwave a barnacle? We'll have to find out. Let's do it.
That's a good question.
Oh my God.
Yep.
We got Steve making popcorn.
Exactly. We got Steve, Emoji King Tottenham in the house. That's right, Steve. Whales get them too. You know what? And I guess the one creature that we can say, thankfully enough, cannot obtain barnacles would be sloths, even though you would think they're highly susceptible, just not typically water-faring animals. So anyway, if they change their mind, I know they come down from the tree once a week.
if they change their mind,
they change, you never know what sloths are thinking. My favorite commercial is where remember all the sloth commercials they had a couple years ago, and they had the one where the sloth was doing Pictionary. They were playing Pictionary. And he drew a line. And the guy was like, "Coin slot." Anyway, that one of the better commercials on this planet. Who else we got in the chat? We got James, the resident pirate, who might know a thing or two about barnacles.
Yeah.
There's got to be some rhymey thing that pirates say about barnacles. But we'll come back to that. We'll loop back around to that one. Who else? We got Don, the Shirako Ayako in the house. Good to see you, Don. How are you? Welcome to the show. And that's it. We got 12 on the line. Chime in, say hi. Let's
say
see
hello.
How y'all are doing this week. Join the conversation.
Yeah, I'll keep track.
Holding up one of those. He's trying to get our attention. Hold on.
Go, Phil.
Go, Phil.
You got barnacle knowledge.
For some reason, my camera is mirrored, which is unfortunate because it says dying on the inside. Okay, but please continue.
I thought you were going to throw some barnacle knowledge at us, dude. But all right. I will find some before the end of the show. We'll find some. I will find the knowledge, not on me. I'm not going to find any on me. I scraped them off.
If you do, don't tell us, okay?
Yeah, many years ago. Timmy, you want to do the Alabama new vape laws?
I would be very happy to speak on that article. So hold on, give me 1 second. I'm sure we'll have plenty of conversation about this one. Only because it's bullshit.
This is
I mean, let's just be honest. All right. Okay, here we go. There's lots of clicking going on. We got to reach out to StreamYard and make this sharing thing far more proficient and
there she is. She loves me.
is.
She adores me with every thread of her being.
Let's make her a little bit bigger. Just
make her bigger for Phillip.
You know what? I would have to gather to say.
You're gonna have to give me a heads up before you do that. Okay, we don't need to zoom in quite so abruptly. But that's Barbara Drummond. She is the one who has sponsored every single piece of legislation, every bill that has come up to restrict or ban vaping products in every way you can imagine. And this is a person that the first time I saw her give speak in front on behalf of the bill that she was, this is after the registry bill had passed, but she opened up with something along the lines of, one of her family members, died of cancer, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And it was one of those situations where that just stuck with me. And when I got up there to speak, I had to say, my heart goes out to the representative here, but vaping does not cause cancer. Why are we discussing cancer here? There's not a single case of anything. I was sort of like, I'm sorry, vaping doesn't cause cancer. Yeah. Well, ever since then, let's just say that she's been unbearably wonderful to me. Just strangely wonderful.
Wow.
See, but
there's really not a whole lot. Joe Gitchell, our friend from Penny and Associates, he had a really great tweet today that was about people who believe things like the earth is flat. The ones that are the strongest believers are the least likely to be convinced otherwise. And no amount of data, numbers, figures are going to change their mind. The suggestion for changing people's mind was find a gap in their knowledge or lack thereof, and that is something that will pique their interests. I'm not saying that Barbara Drummond is a bad person. I'm saying that her gaps are few and far between, and I just really haven't been, let's just say our state advocacy group has seen some changes, and they've been a little bit off all of these bills, and we've done the best we can with what we've been able to do, but we all have our lives, and we used to have a very strong state, the BEAA, the Breathe Easier Association. A lot of people left. So the long and short of it is, this latest one is, it's ridiculous. It basically goes over things that were already in place, and it allocates certain funds from fines that have been increased. That's basically all it does. To the Alcohol Beverage Control Board, the ABC board. And that being said, the convenience store lobby, of course, got involved, and it's been amended. But please go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that if looking at that picture, it almost appears as though she spotted Phillip in the crowd.
She had that look.
No, that's me she's looking at. There's no doubt.
All right. Yeah. So a new Alabama law that took effect June 1 came in response to what some called an epidemic. Of course, the use of electronic cigarettes or vapes by children and teenagers. It was already illegal to sell vapes to minors. Hence, therefore, it is also illegal for them to possess. So let's not let that one skirt by it. The new law, HB 8 by Rep. Barbara Drummond, a Democrat from Mobile, aims to increase enforcement of that prohibition by raising more money through increased fees and fines. The bill provides funds to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board and the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency to carry out the new law. A portion of the funds will be used to develop education and prevention programs, When I started meeting with educators throughout the state, they would tell me their number one problem was vaping. I just can't believe that.
No,
Said Drummond, who worked on the bill for 3 years. There's got to be far more other big issues like depression, anxiety,
drug abuse, fentanyl,
drug abuse, alcohol.
How about cigarette smoking?
Cigarettes.
For the love of God.
Exactly.
It's not like Alabama doesn't have its fair share.
Yeah.
We had one superintendent who came and brought one of those huge garbage bags filled with nothing but vaping devices. And they said that the problem they were having is that some of these were taken, from kids as young as third graders. The legislature passed HB 8 on May 6th, and Governor Kay Ivey signed it into law on May 14. So who can sell vapes? One provision in the new law was intended to restrict sales of hundreds of varieties of vapes to 21 and older specialty stores. But that was nullified by a court agreement between the state and the Petroleum and Convenience Marketers of Alabama, which contended that the state cannot exclude certain retailers, including convenience stores, from products that are allowed by the Food and Drug Administration. The agreement means that all retailers with a tobacco permit can sell vapes on the state's approved list called the Electronic Nicotine Delivery System Directory, or ENDS. That does not change what has been the law for several years. But the increased enforcement should help keep vapes that are not on the ENDS directory off store shelves, which has been a problem, supporters of the legislation said. When you go into convenience stores and other establishments that sell vaping products, you would see items that were being marketed to young people, like flavors, Drummond said. Fruity Tooty. Yeah, that's a real popular one on this. When I walk in, that's the first flavor I see on the shelf. As soon as I walk in, Fruity Tooty. It just jumps out at me, and then I always buy something else. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Mango.
Let's go. Yeah, let's go right to the mango section. Trump said Fruity Tooty and all kinds of stuff, and that was against the law. But ABC did not have the staff, nor did they have trained staff to go into those establishments and be able to enforce what was currently on the books. There are more than 900 vape products on the ENDS directory. Bart Fletcher, president of Petroleum and Convenience Marketers of Alabama, said the sheer volume of vape products makes it a challenge to identify those that are not approved. It was a pretty daunting task, and one that I don't think the department or the ABC board really had the ability to adequately enforce, Fletcher said. But after the passage of the House Bill 8, they're focusing much more of their enforcement efforts on vape products. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
New fees. Alabama already required a permit to sell tobacco products, but there was not a cost. HB 8 created a new fee of $150 per store to be renewed annually. It also added a one-time $50 filing fee. The legislation establishes a $1,000 annual license fee for stores classified as specialty retailers of electronic nicotine delivery systems. So wait a minute. So the fee is an annual license, effectively,
right?
$150 per store, which has to be renewed annually, and a one-time filing fee. So the first year you pay $200. It's $150 every successive year after that. But then it's $1,000 for stores classified. So the vape shops, who are probably far more strict and far more attuned to keeping the vapes out of the hands of the children, don't get the break. They're the ones who have to pay $1,000, yet the stores that any Tom, Dick, and Harry can walk into and probably get by, and yeah, they get the pass. They get $150 a year. I think that's ridiculous. Anyway,
stores.
It was a valiant effort trying to exclude C stores, but there's just if you know anything about their they have quite a bit of influence, and frankly, I didn't. Let's just say, hey, you don't hit anything if you don't swing. So there's that. But that was never going to happen. The other thing, I've been taking a look around, seeing if anyone has had people coming in, quote unquote raids, whatever, that sort of thing. Nothing yet. And I think that there are a lot of police officers here that I've met, in fact, that aren't, thrilled about having to go in and, hand out fines or raid shops that carry the products that help them quit smoking. That's a fact. My local store that they're all friends of mine, been going there for years, and there are several law enforcement officers who frequent the place, and I spoke to them about what's going on, and they're just like, we just don't get it. I said, well, talk to some of your fellow officers, fellow cops, and tell them what these products did for you, and tell them
share your story, man.
Yeah, share your story. And I've talked to the head of the ABC control board, and they're not interested in going around and putting good law-abiding shops out of business. They are hopefully interested in putting shops that have a tendency to sell to minors. Let's just say that there are all kinds of shops. Okay, you've got vape shops, vape smoke shops, smoke vape shops, product. Let's just say diversification has become necessary. We all know that. But the fact is, we have a registry bill on the books, has been there for a long time. So now it's basically up to law enforcement discretion and the discretion of the ABC board. And we have in this state had a quote gray market for a while. So what I'm hoping is that in order to look like they're doing something, the worst words in the English language, we have to do something. That they will go to those stores that are consistently getting busted for underage sales.
Right.
The stores that I frequent, I myself have reported stores that are constantly selling to kids, because there were a few, and I'm like, I can't let this happen, because people who smoke are never ever going to get what they need to quit if these stores don't give a shit about them, and they're making a buck any which way they can. So let's just say we have some great stores around Birmingham, and those stores, I make sure I have, and I'll go in there and I'll make sure that if there's someone new in there, I don't look like 21, but I need to have my ID nonetheless. Doesn't matter how old you are. If they come in and they ask for my ID and I don't have it, that's a fine. So it's impossible to say what they're going to do with their newfound funding and their new initiative. My hope is the very least possible.
I like this next sentence, Tim. Go ahead, read that. That makes me laugh.
Specialty retailers are stores with names that include words like vapes, or some variation, or stores where vapes make up at least 50% of the inventory or occupy a certain amount of shelf or floor space.
So if you name the shop Smoke Shop and don't use the word vape, you're cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, but you have the caveat.
I always say I'm going to my vapor emporium. That's what I say.
Emporium. I just say Smoke Shop now. If you just name it Smoke Shop, they'll leave you alone.
I always thought to myself, you have several states now where weed is legal and everywhere, and they have nicotine banned on the books. I'm like, Your Honor, it was the wheelchair crippler, but I swear
the shop was called Smoke Shop. There was no vape word in it. I swear.
Well, but then you have to have 49% of the store stocked with shelf of floor space with vapes. So don't include vapes, and fit 49%.
49%, yeah. 49.9.
Keep it at 49%.
49.9.
Yeah.
Exactly. My buddy has got a store downtown. He's putting in a barbecue pit. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Sell sandwiches in there too. What the hell?
Specialty retailers could not admit any customers younger than age 21. Well, okay, we kind of already know that. Hefty fines. Under HB 8, the ABC board will require tobacco permit holders that violate regulations to pay fines about 5 times more than before. Also, the new law says that the board shall issue the fines, while the law previously said the board may issue the fines. For a first violation within a 2-year period, the fine is increased from $200 to $1,000. If you get a second violation within 2 years, that fine is increased from $400 to $2,500. And for a third violation within 2 years, the fine is increased from $750 to $5,000. So where does all that money go if they collect on it? HB8 created a vaping, licensing, and enforcement fund within the state treasury. All the money from the fees and fines go into the new fund. 40% will go to the ABC's board licensing and compliance division for the cost of enforcing the law and for tobacco and nicotine prevention education. 20% will go to the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency for enforcement of the tobacco vapes law. 20% will go to the State Board of Education to establish vape awareness, education, and prevention programs. It's a bit redundant. You already are doing that above.
Yep.
Right. Anyway, 20% will go to the state court system for drug education,
Yep.
and prevention for court-ordered addiction and substance abuse rehabilitation courses. So it's all about funneling money back into the system.
Right.
HB8 bans the sale of any tobacco product or vapes from vending machines. And vending machine sales were previously allowed in locations that had 21 and older agers. I never see those anymore.
I've never seen one. Have you seen one, Phil?
I know, absolutely
I've
not.
seen one.
Okay, there are perhaps a few. Actually, it wouldn't apply to casinos that are on quote reservation land. So no, I've not seen any. And the funny thing is that's exactly where they should be.
Yeah.
Because, but what I do find interesting is that we've had the state of Alabama, I want to say, did not enact T21 on the books, but every single vape shop has been, it's been 21.
Yeah.
Ever for as long as I remember. I just don't believe it was on the books. So that's all this is. We've been practicing this forever. This state. So what I'm noticing here is, vending machines. Okay, we have non-issues and then we have non-issues. That's a non-issue. Right. So what we have down here is a situation where I'm really hoping this isn't going to shame a bunch of kids for being kids. But if it does, let's just say you've seen me animated. You think you've seen me animated. That will animate me in ways that you could not possibly imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember where I was trying to remember where vending machines were when I was a kid, and I can only think of the bowling alley, the airport,
bars.
I remember one of the Gus's hot dogs. 4 quarters got you a pack of Merritts.
Well, I remember going to the courthouse, and the courthouse had a vending machine in their lobby for cigarettes. Yep.
Yeah.
And I bought them there once.
You got to get that. You got to get that pack before you go to court.
Yeah. I mean, in this entire town, I've seen one cigarette vending machine, and it's there's a place over here in Sugar Hill called Rooftop. It's like a bar at the top on the 3rd floor, and they have a cigarette dispensing machine on the ground floor. So it was just, for me, it's almost like seeing a pay telephone. You're like,
yeah.
They still have those things? Like, I didn't even think they existed anymore. But sure shit, there's one.
Oh, the advent of like tap and pay credit cards. I mean, they're probably back in style. I don't know. It was rough, carrying around $8 and change. But I think it's most of this is just old news. More. I guess you said more theater, but what it is doing is it's bringing in more. Technically, it will be bringing in ABC board funding from fines and these licenses, which is the licensing is one thing. I get that, but I also foresee a bit of we have those perverse incentives, that sort of thing, and Let's just say I don't really see this. The drug education prevention, that 20%, I don't see that helping kids at all. I mean, if you're actually a repeat offender, if you're not smart enough as a kid to just like not get caught with a vape, it's kind of like smoking when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Once you had that, that detention or that one, half day of, I think I had a half day of in-school suspension because I got caught smoking in the bathroom, and it was horrible. So let's say I'm not doing that again. So let's just, even if I did, let's just say I got smart. It would have been worse if I didn't play baseball. But what I'm trying to say is, if you got a kid who just doesn't care at all about getting caught, whether it be vapes or any kind of contraband, that's not vapes. That's a kid who has some things to work through.
Issues.
And I don't necessarily think that we should start sending kids to quote drug education. I mean, are they doing that with cigarettes these days?
Well, with only 20% going into it, that's probably just a poster that they're going to hang at the school. Let's be honest, 20. Yeah. If you're that concerned about children vaping and smoking and doing drugs, you would invest a little more than 20% of the fines towards that addiction, because 20% is basically what we got to see in the 80s. And that was that poster that said, with what's her name, Ronald Reagan's wife, what was it called?
Nancy.
Yeah. And then the fried egg commercial. That was it. That was all the money went to that. Right there.
Your brain on drugs.
But how much of that 20% was actually used for that?
Yeah,
not much.
Probably not a whole lot.
No. So where's the rest?
I don't know what it cost to advertise back then. I mean, it's a lot more significant now. But yeah, I remember that. I remember that a lot.
Yeah. And the Dare caps and the T-shirts that were handed out. Yeah,
but let's keep reading. They actually mention parenting down here somewhere. You'll like that.
So education programs. The law says that by September 1st, 2025, the State Board of Education will adopt a model policy for vape awareness, education, and prevention. I'm sure it's going to involve snakes in their brains and all kinds of fun stuff. The purpose is to prohibit all tobacco products, vapes, and alternative nicotine products in K through 12 public schools. By November 1st, 2025, each local school board is required to adopt a police base. What? Required to adopt a police based on the SBOE model. Each local school board is required to adopt a police based on the SBOE. All right, so I guess that's just, I don't know what the SBOE model is. Anybody got any clue? Yes, go for it. Okay, he's saying hold on. He knows the answer. He will provide the answer when we can hear him. But I'm not familiar with the SBOE model. But
the State Board of Education.
Oh, okay. All right. So, all right, I got you. It was okay. So minors caught with vapes. It was already illegal for people under age 21 to buy or possess tobacco products or vapes. The new law spells out consequences for those under age 19. Those will be handled in juvenile court. For a first violation, the parents are notified and the minor is required to attend an in-person vaping awareness, education, and prevention class. So basically the walk of shame. For a second violation, the parents are notified and the minor is required to take a non-residential addiction or substance abuse rehabilitation course approved by the court and the Department of Public Health. And the parent must attend the course too. The cost will be paid from the Vaping Licensing and Enforcement Fund. Look at that guy.
And who's doing that for kids that are smoking cigarettes or drinking?
Nobody.
Or any of that other thing?
Nobody.
No, exactly. So why do that? That is so wrong. All they're trying to do is literally handle their ADHD or their anxiety or their depression or focus better to get better grades or to have more friends. And I mean that in a anxiety state. You don't have many friends if you have high anxiety. Because
See, yeah, on the second
wound up,
violation,
you know?
right? Yeah, the second violation is where things get really
Yeah.
out of hand, and that's the sort of thing that, I mean, we're not so much talking about a record or something. These are juveniles, but you do that to a kid. That's not only going to affect him internally.
Scars
I mean,
him.
they're yes, and it also
Yeah.
it also singles the person out. And you have a kid. I mean, high school, junior. I mean, it's tough without any of this crap.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say that this is a stressor that, you know, middle school and high school kids do not need, and more importantly, they don't need to be sent for the equivalent of, you know, smoking, vaping, or getting caught with something that is legal for a second time to an addiction or substance abuse rehabilitation course, because just based on the name alone, you attend that. Well, there you go. Hey, druggie, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, it's just not necessary.
Yeah.
And it's not just their friends, it's their, you know, their whole world gets turned upside down.
I mean, in the English language, is there anything more, you know, stigmatizing the word addict? I mean, truly, an addict.
Well, yeah, and at that age, it's all about labels, and you're just labeling that kid as that. That's gonna stick. That doesn't go away. We know how. We remember that. I mean, you know, when you got labeled something in high school or middle school, that stuck with you.
Bully.
Well, see, I was lucky. My youngest brother wasn't, and you know, like I said, I wish I was the oldest of three. No, it's just two. So it's just not something that I see doing any good, just right off the bat from what they're calling it. And it's just, I really do think that the consequences will be severe and the benefits almost negligible.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that this isn't something, I'm hoping that, you know, perhaps there is a first time for this, and what takes place is just obviously wrong and counterproductive, and they modify the system or the new system, because they can do that.
Yeah, I don't know why they treat vapes as something so exotic. Like it's just that much worse than smoking, which, you know, they
gotta scare the general public into it. And I think
I mean, but to Philip's point, I mean, let's just say a kid somehow finds his way into his second violation. How many of those kids are just going to be kids that got caught with their friends, you know, and they only do it like, you know, once in a blue moon, you know what I mean? And now all of a sudden they got to be shoved off to this rehabilitation course when they really never had an issue or a problem with the vapes in the first place.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, if the threat of that kind of stuff is enough to deter a kid from getting involved in it, you know, then that's good news on keeping the kids away from it. But it doesn't help the adults, though. There's no benefit for the adults in any of this, you know, because they're only going to allow the PMT registered items anyway. And again, the parent must attend the course as well. The cost, we already said that the cost will be paid from the vaping licensing enforcement fund. That guy has a really bad haircut.
Well, the dude in the back looks like he just did a bump. That's just me.
Yeah. We should look into that individual right there. It looks like he's trying to wipe his nose clean.
Those two white guys, you know, from the on the right, and that is just, man, that is an Alabama politician. My God.
He's biting his lips, man. The guy in the back
probably got a dip in there somewhere.
Yeah, probably does.
Got a Zen tucked in his cheek.
You know what? Odds on that one are pretty decent. I would make that wager.
It does look like he's got a dip in his mouth,
doesn't he? He's curling that bottom lip, but he's got
or he's very, very, very upset about the fact that he's illiterate. One of the two.
Yeah. Senator David Sessions, a Republican from Mobile County, who handled HB 8 in the Senate, said the goal is not to be punitive with the underage users. Young people make mistakes, and we don't want them to be necessarily punished harshly for those mistakes. but we want them to learn from their mistakes, Sessions said in the Senate in May. Sessions said the bill would not fully prevent children from the risk of vapes, a problem he called, of course, an epidemic. But we will go a long way into making sure that we're not going to make it easy on them to get these products, Sessions said. We're not dealing with whether this is chunky peanut butter or smooth peanut butter. We're dealing with a product that is unhealthy. It is unhealthy for adults as well as young people.
Just one moment. How is that godforsaken analogy?
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I read over and over again. I don't know that I listened to him say it, but we're not talking about chunky. What in the hell is he talking about?
Yeah.
Maybe he had a peanut butter sandwich just before he got there, and he just associated peanut butter with this statement.
We have so many wonderful people in this state. I'm so sick of our federal and state politicians not helping. It's embarrassing.
He looked there. God, I love that one.
Oh, the one I was trying to get it. No, not that one. The other one. There you go. Yeah.
I guarantee you, he's got one of the dry cleaners, buddy. I guarantee it. Cheers, Don.
Drummond said her resolve to pass the bill grew after she got a call from a school official in Dallas County who reported that a student had died from using a vape laced with fentanyl. How?
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah.
That is something that, look, everything I know about putting fentanyl in vapes is very deliberate. And as far as I know, yes, it is possible to get a fentanyl, but it doesn't make any sense because
it's not cost effective.
Well, I'm saying the potency of the fentanyl when it is heating up, fentanyl degrades at a very low temperature. So you're basically, the higher you heat it, the less fentanyl you're getting out of it, the less high you're getting. And it's actually practiced as a form of harm reduction in some ways, but no one is giving away their drugs.
Right.
And no one is putting fentanyl into a nicotine vape.
No.
It's just,
it's ridiculous.
I'm just saying it can't, as far as I'm aware, it is almost impossible to vape fentanyl to the point of overdose because it's just not, and commercial or rather, consumer grade vapes, you have to do, you have to get the fentanyl and put it in and do, I mean, I have no idea, but as far as I'm concerned, that without a proper, I don't know the details of that, but everything that I've learned from Ryan Marino, toxicologist, tells me that is not an accurate report of what happened. And if there is someone who died, I think that's a terrible thing, but you should be more concerned about figuring out why instead of reporting it in a vague and non-specific way like this. So it supports whatever you're trying to do in terms of this. It's really kind of, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Bunch of savages.
Tim, you want to jump to the next one?
Yeah, well, anyway, they finished with, apparently she got a call about a kid who was found with a vaping device in 3rd grade. All right, yeah, we can move on to the next one. Hold on one second. Can I do that? Can I go?
You have the power.
No, I know. I'm just wondering. Okay, so I guess I have to stop before I can share.
Right. You can't. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Everybody, patience, young Padawans.
Yes, work on your Barnacles while Tim is changing.
Not that one. Up and smoke.
Everything you do is amazing.
There we go. All right.
It's a magic. Truly, it's a magical thing. It's like a microwave oven. Everyone has one, but they're like,
everyone in magic. All right. Up in smoke. This is
up
it.
In smoke.
Right? Yep. Lakewood City Council passed a smoke and vape shop moratorium.
Moratorium.
Of all things. That's the first time I've heard moratorium involved with vapes. Lakewood, Ohio. Yet another Northeast Ohio community is examining the influx of smoke and vape businesses. Last week, Lakewood City Council passed a moratorium on the opening of additional such businesses through the end of the year. Under our zoning code, smoke and vape shops are regulated like any other commercial business, but we've noticed more of them in town, said City Council Vice President Kyle Baker, who, along with Mayor Megan George, introduced the resolution. I counted more than 10. Oh my God, more than 10 in Lakewood, along with our commercial corridors. We also received constituent calls about them, so we want to pause as we update our zoning code to make sure that we were regulating them appropriately. The resolution defines a smoke vape shop as any retail business that has at least 20% of its shelf space dedicated to smoke shop products. This includes CBD, kratom, and/or hemp-derived or synthetic cannabinoids. A letter to City Council stressed that the legislation doesn't include state-licensed medical or recreational marijuana dispensaries. It's products that aren't regulated by the FDA, Baker said. The impetus for the moratorium stems from the examination of the existing zoning code, which doesn't address the actual and potential impacts of smoke vape shops in terms of access, building quality and aesthetics, lights and noise control, available and appropriate locations, use, saturation, and environment. Baker, who is also the Ward 1 Council representative, hopes to have updated legislation passed by the end of the year. Any shop that is currently operating is able to continue what they're doing, he said, and then going forward, Lakewood will have a more comprehensive zoning refresh. While the moratorium targets smoke and vape shops, Baker stressed the motivation behind council's decision. I'd like folks to know we're concerned about land use on our commercial corridors and making sure it's compatible with what Lakewood wants, he said. We're not expressing some moral judgment on vaping. Sure you are.
Yeah, sure you are.
Sure you are. I mean, if you don't want people opening up those shops out of your own prejudice, then there is a judgment on vaping that more is not better.
That's what's currently going on, exactly what's going on here in Modesto right now. And they're trying to close vape shop after vape shop after, and smoke shops too here in Modesto. They're doing the same thing here.
So is it a citywide ordinance? I mean, is this something that is done at the city level, or is it simply because, you have shopping centers with use agreements and they have operations agreements. For example, shopping centers like a Target center, no one will allow a bowling alley in that, or a movie theater has to be on a different part because it takes up parking. People park for several hours at a time. And that's one of those things. And, other things like liquor stores or things like that. That's private land use.
Oh, that's right. This is your field, Phillip, right?
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is you have exclusive uses and restricted uses. Yeah. And I was curious if this was a private thing having to do with the operations and easement agreement, or if this is something that has to do with the city municipality.
Yeah. Yeah, here they're focusing on all the vape and smoke shops that are on the, let's just say the harder neighborhoods in town. Like I hate using the word ghetto part of town, but the south side is always the bad side of it, no matter what town you're in.
The places where you're most likely to get stabbed. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So they're trying, and again, what's going on here in Modesto's property is just skyrocketing. So the group that is actually funding the program to close some of these vape shops in Modesto happens to be one of those companies that buys homes and properties.
So it is. So it is so essentially it is. It's not a REIT, a real estate investment trust, is it?
It's one of those things. Yeah. That just buys blocks of homes and property and then resells them or rebuilds them up.
No. Okay.
They're actually the ones funding this bill here in Modesto is to try to close. They're funding the whole damn thing. Like I went and did some back research on who was funding this whole thing. And it came back to one of these companies that they come in and they're the ones that send you those letters. If you own your home, hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars for your home. Well, they're doing commercial properties here in Modesto because the square footage now here in Modesto and some of those, even in the bad areas, is extremely high. So get rid of them and put somebody else in there. at a higher rate. So yeah,
so they're buying up quote economically obsolescent properties, and they're building new centers. So they could so they're pushing this to be a citywide law ordinance, and so it saves them the trouble of having to create this part of their center operations agreement.
And get it on the cheap.
I mean, are they a big box sort of? Do they build like Walmart centers, or do they build Nordstrom?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I didn't dig in too deep on who they were exactly. I just found out that they were. I forget the name that they use. It's like a real estate corporate.
It's definitely not a publicly. A REIT is a public, but this one, obviously, they have a little bit of influence. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, they're going after shop after shop after shop, and they're using the same tactics that we all know. That the groups that come to these places are criminals and blah blah blah, and children and all this other stuff. And like I gotta said, they're mostly the shops that are on the south side of Modesto, and it's a little sketchier area. So but that area is starting to be developed and now worth more per square foot than it used to be out here. So,
well, when you put in a shopping center like with a Target doesn't pay anything to go there.
No,
you basically get them to open their doors, and where you make your money is on every small tenant that you sign up. So what they're trying to do is create a situation where they can't, be how shall I say it? That their properties or shopping areas around them can't lease to those uses as well, and thus keeping the value of their property, I guess, in their minds high. And I can't say that they're
know what I mean. Most of those places in those parts of towns are outdoor shopping malls. So there's those strips, like you go in
strip centers.
Strip centers. That's it. Yeah. So to their advantage is getting rid of those people and putting somebody else in there is a deal for them. So I guess, and I'm not sure if they're buying all the properties up in that shopping mall or outdoor shopping center, but it seems like that's what they're going for.
I would say that there would be plenty of small center owners out there that would not be happy about this. Let's just say no one likes to have, avenues of, they like to have their options when it comes to this. So find someone who doesn't like it.
Yeah, and then there, like somebody wrote in the group thing that I was in for Modesto, they wrote, "What's next? Tattoo shops?" Because we do have a lot of tattoo shops in Modesto too.
What about Circle K's or gas stations? I mean, they have vapes.
Yeah, they have vapes. They have minors. They have juvenile delinquents. They have criminals that attend those places as well. So it's the same tactics too. Youth vaping epidemic, criminal that hang out in front of these stores and shop at these stores, and most of them aren't listed as a vape shop. Most of them are listed as smoke shops. So that's the other thing that they're focusing on is the smoke shop, which has may have 3 or 4 shelves with nicotine vaping products, but the rest of it is, bongs and water pipes. So let me say the correct terminology: water pipes.
I've seen worse products in the diversification.
Now we used to be a very Christian-based community here. I mean, they tried to get. Now this is funny. What is the name of the stupid place that the girls walk around in the short shorts and the hot wings?
Hooters.
We tried to get a Hooters here, and they blocked it. They blocked it. They would not allow. And this is early 90s when Hooters was at their max. And they tried to get one here in the shopping center, and the city council banned it because the Christian community didn't want a Hooters in Modesto. I'm not kidding.
No. We had a similar event here. Trust me, it was not. it was not well received.
No.
But
I
do
hope
they
you
have a
have fun.
Lifeway Christian bookstore? Those didn't do very well either.
The Catholic bookstore doesn't do well here either. Now that my mom's not around, you know, I think she was our only customer.
Morality-based legislating is just
it's insane. Hey guys, we are out of time. I want to thank Mr. Phil for coming, Phillip for joining us. And Michelle and Mr. Tim up there. Thank you everybody out there in chat.
Thank you very much.
I hope you guys are getting used to the 1 hour show, but like I said, there's not really a lot going on right now. And I'm trying to find articles that are based on our location. So Tim in Georgia, Phillip in Alabama, and Florida and California stuff. So that's what I've been kind of trying to focus on. And if there's something federal that comes up, we'll discuss it. But literally nothing federal is on the books right now. We're sitting on our hands, right, guys? I mean,
we are in a holding pattern. I promise when I do pop up next time, I will not completely occupy the show and interrupt. I swear.
Nah,
I know Tim's that face over there. I thank you for reminding me. So I promise to shut up occasionally.
Yeah, we're out of here. Remember, go to your doctor and check for barnacles, guys. You know, they're out there. There could be on your back, could be in that area like Tim says where you can't reach. You know, that one part of your back where you just can't reach it.
Take a picture of it and do a video call with your doctor.
Absolutely wrong.
Maybe one of you will take a class and become the first. We'll have a Dr. Barnacle Popper show on TV.
God, turn it off quickly. People are
Dr.
watching
Barnacle
this.
Popper.
Can you imagine someone going to WebMD?
Yeah.
Got a barnacle.
Exactly. What do you do for a bad case of the barnacles? I don't know.
All right, guys.
Your breakfast? I mean, whatever. I'm just not ready.
Sorry, guys.
We gotta go. Bye bye.
Everybody, look into the camera and say goodbye to everybody out there. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye. Good night, everybody. Love you.